Though the Beatles enjoyed a remarkable career filled with timeless hits that transformed the music landscape, not every project left a positive impression on its creators. One album, Let It Be, was particularly frustrating for Paul McCartney, so much so that he eventually admitted he couldn't stand it. The trouble started with The Long and Winding Road, a gentle piano-driven ballad that McCartney had composed with care in the studio. But as the band was unraveling, John Lennon and producer Phil Spector made drastic alterations to the track without McCartney's consent. Large orchestral arrangements and choral vocals were added, significantly changing the song from its original, more stripped-down concept. This unexpected transformation deeply upset McCartney, and his dissatisfaction with the production changes extended to the album as a whole. Although Let It Be was released after Abbey Road, much of its recording had taken place earlier. The Long and Winding Road was one of the last songs completed, and its final version was far from what McCartney had envisioned. Speaking to the Evening Standard in 1970, McCartney expressed frustration that Phil Spector had been brought in, reportedly at Lennon's request, to rework some of the tracks. He said he was shocked to receive a new mix of The Long and Winding Road that featured strings, horns, and a women's choir, all without anyone consulting him first. McCartney felt the additions clashed with the Beatles' aesthetic, and he stressed that he would never have included female vocals on a Beatles track. He added that a note from manager Alan Klein had accompanied the altered version, justifying the changes as necessary. McCartney didn't hold Spector entirely responsible, but the situation made it clear to him that he no longer had control over the band's work. He even sent a letter to Klein requesting revisions, a letter that, at the time, had gone unanswered. The final release of Let It Be included Spector's heavily orchestrated version of the song, a decision that also angered longtime Beatles producer George Martin. Martin later remarked that the changes had infuriated both him and McCartney, particularly since neither had been informed beforehand. The reworking of the song had occurred under Alan Klein's management, during a period when John Lennon had entrusted Klein with significant influence. Spector was brought in under Klein's direction, with George Harrison and Ringo Starr reportedly supporting the decision. According to Martin, they had struck a deal with EMI and moved forward without informing him or McCartney. Although Let It Be contains classic songs like Get Back, I Me Mine, Across the Universe, and the title track, the album is often remembered less for its musical content and more for being the Beatles' swan song, the final chapter in the legacy of the world's most famous band.